Welcome to NLG Talks, your global hub for insightful discussions on supply chain, sustainability, human capital, innovations, and much more. I am your host, Jason Abraham, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this journey of exploration. NLG Talks is not just a podcast, it's a platform for collaboration, learning, and growth. Tune in to Spotify and other platforms and make sure to follow us to stay updated on our latest episodes. Let's embark on this journey together towards a brighter, more innovative future. So, Ishwar, how are you? Good evening. We have a fantastic topic on hand with Hari today.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, I think it's really interesting for us to have Hari with us. Welcome, Hari. The subject is quite intriguing. Navigating reverse logistics in the medical industry. Amazing topic, and welcome on board.
Thank you, Srishu. Thank you, Jason, for bringing me in to discuss about these topics, which is quite interesting for me personally as well. And this is something what we always do in our day-to-day operations. So I'm more happy to be here and share my little bit of experience, what we basically do, and the best practices we follow to enhance the reverse logistics operation in our industry.
Absolutely. Ishwar, these days we should have a return policy on our website, in our companies. Return policies are so much important. Materials which are coming back from the customers have to be identified in the warehouse. How important it is to have a return policy these days?
Thank you, Jason. I mean, you have brought a very interesting topic. It's very, very important because ultimately any business, end of the day, is looking for customer satisfaction or customer delight.
Yeah.
And if you do not have a return policy in place, that could jeopardize the entire business. In fact, e-commerce, the strength of e-commerce is the return policy.
Yeah.
And the success of e-commerce is return policy. Nowadays, we have even quick commerce. People are competing, saying that, say, for example, if you're not able to deliver food or any kind of a service, they say every second of delay, every minute of delay will be compensated with a price.
Yeah.
So return policies are significant, and that will actually add value not only for the business, but also in the market share for the business.
Today we are talking about the medical industry as a whole, and Hari has joined us. Hari, the first question is, what is reverse logistics, and how important is reverse logistics in the medical business?
Yes, unlike in any other industry, we talk about reverse logistics. It's the idea is basically same. If it's like bringing out the inventories back to your warehouse or your distribution center because of numerous reasons, just like surplus inventory, expired items because of defects or damage. So unlike many other industries, in the healthcare industry, this is kind of a little bit comprehensive or more robust, I must say, because we have to follow a lot of guidelines. We have to work within the framework of those regulatory bodies, like whatever guidelines they have suggested. Disposing of expired or medical waste. Everything has a robust system, so working in this design framework and conditions is always something we do in the medical industry. We follow very strictly these processes because in order to avoid the legal complications and penalties.
You're right. When I was working back in the medical industry back in 2015, 16, and I was, you're right in terms of the regulations which come in place, especially with Ministry of Health and other laws which are there in place for the returns, not only the new fresh products, but the returns. And we cannot discard the returns. We cannot discard the expired items in the open environment. Ishwar, would you like to define reverse logistics as well?
Sure. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Hari. You put it very well. In fact, You mentioned about defects, you mentioned about expired items, you mentioned about surplus inventory, you mentioned about hazardous materials. See, these days there's more significance, and it's more important with in reference to the medical industry, because you're dealing with patients, and it could be if something is not administered properly, it could be the reputation. It could bring a reputational loss. Not only the reputational loss, the effect would also have on the patient's life in itself. So the way how I look at it is, in a traditional form of a business, we have always heard only the flow of goods right from the supplier to the end, from the manufacturer or from the source of origination to the source of consumption. But in reverse logistics, it encompasses all the operations related to the upstream movement of products and materials. It is a process of moving goods from their typical final destination for the purpose of capturing value or proper disposal. So these processes requires meticulous planning, adherence to the regulatory standards, which you both guys have put it in a beautiful way, and a seamless coordination between stakeholders. This is my take, Jason.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Hari, this is a very challenging sector, especially with reverse logistics in the medical business. Would you like to throw some light on different challenges you are facing?
Certainly, yes. If I had to speak from a end consumer point of view, which I'm currently doing right now, this plays a key role. The challenges of having short expiry stocks or the defected items, how we take it to the supplier and bring it back to them and giving them. So even though we design a set of framework, or we have a strict policy or agreement on these aspects, but again, a key factor what we need to consider here is the time, the criticality. Okay, so when we return these stocks, so do we have sufficient quantity to mobilize the immediate requirement? So these things are critical. The time plays an important role here. I must highlight at this point of time. So along with this challenges, what I feel is how we can avoid this reverse logistics or minimize the reverse logistic operations is right from the root cause. Like you select the right supplier who is having credibility in the market. You select the right product, and your forecast. This plays an important role, because you need to have a clear understanding of what is your consumption, what is your buffer stock that you need to have, and what is the route plan of supplying these stocks. If you have a detailed designed framework on these aspects, I believe that you can reduce these reverse logistic impact to a great extent, which we eventually follow in our current workplace.
And when you mentioned about suppliers, it is very tough to deal with the suppliers, especially in reverse logistics terms and conditions, because many of the suppliers would be hesitant to take back the materials which are near expiry or maybe returned. So, would you face kind of a challenge with suppliers as well, or is it easy with suppliers over here?
Well, we have actually. See, let me tell you, in my line of business, we categorize our equipment. The items what we purchase from various sources, like equipments, medical consumables, pharmaceutical consumables, surgical consumables, and so on. So each supplier has we have to have a different set of agreement. So the volume of surgical consumables, cost wise it would be low, but the volume wise it would be more, because then again, in the pharmaceutical, the distributors or manufacturers, we have a different set of agreements.
The medicines,
exactly, the medicines. Though we are lucky that these products, it comes with a longer shelf life,
Yeah.
at least having like 2+ years of shelf life. So this is
Mm.
what we always ensure to have it at the right place
Yeah.
before receiving the stocks at the time. Such in cases if we receive any short expiry items or
Mm.
damaged items, we always ensure with our suppliers and see that we get some documentation or agreements, such as, for example, a UT undertaking letter.
Yes.
If this doesn't go well or we are unable to consume in the required time frame, we'll be
Mm.
returning to you. So we make these policies pretty clear and transparent with the both parties, and ensure that the entire operation of taking back this unused stocks
Mm.
is being completed in a proper and efficient way.
Yeah, so I think your strategy would be different in different cases because if you are speaking as an end user, then the
Yes,
strategy would be
exactly.
different, and when you're speaking as
Exactly.
a supplier, a different kind of
Exactly.
approach would be there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
Absolutely.
Ishwar, would you like to share some feedback on this challenges aspect?
Oh, sure. I mean, you both guys, I'm really intrigued when you both guys have put, several perspectives. So intriguing, actually.
Yeah.
My viewpoint on this challenge, it's definitely challenging. Reverse
Mm.
logistics, not only to the medical business, but any form of
Yeah.
business, and with specific reference to supply chain.
Hmm.
It's a very important arm, I would say. It's an important arm for the supply chain or to administer the reverse logistics. So, some of the
Hmm.
challenges of reverse logistics, which are
Yes.
very prominent for any business, specifically in a medical business, it's very complex, and
Yeah.
it's very complex in nature, and very expensive operation, costly operations. Managing customers' expectations, as
Yeah.
Hari mentioned, it's
Yeah.
very important for you to maintain those stocks, especially the buffer stocks, replacements, whether it's damage, near
Yeah.
expiry, so on and so forth, to
Yeah.
meet the expectations of the customers. And most importantly, the compliance with regulations. You have internal
Mm.
compliance, you have external compliance.
Absolutely.
So,
Mhm.
compliance is a very significant factor with regulations. Every day there's a new regulation that is coming in. So you need to keep yourself abreast and updated with what's actually happening in the in through various forums or in the industry.
Mhm.
And yeah, so these are some critical challenges. And most important thing is maintaining the product's integrity
Exactly.
Very important.
is very
Yes.
very very important,
Exactly.
because with the proliferation of product, to identify which is the genuine product, it's very challenging. So
Mm.
Exactly.
the when it comes to reverse logistics, the challenges are insurmountable, and every day there is a new development that is happening in the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So only thing is we need to be more agile.
Correct.
Exactly. I would like
Absolutely.
to add one point to what Mr. Ishwar said here. So when I was working way back in the FMCG industry, uh, the process was quite different.
Mm.
The volume of reverse logistics was comparatively more because the products, like he rightly mentioned, the product integrity, the condition of products when we are getting back is not at the same condition what we used to
Yeah.
supply.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is in damaged condition, sometimes the labels are like worn out, and so we are not, we cannot sell these products back into the market,
Mm.
though it may have a long shelf life. So we come up with different approaches in order to
Mm.
to liquidate these stocks and ensure that the damages caused during the reverse logistics process is minimized, and
Mm.
even the products which are damaged, we ensure that we liquidate this in order to minimize the economic impact
Yeah.
due to this.
Yeah.
And just to add to Hari and Jason, what you had mentioned, uh, it's so complex that the legal frameworks to ensure, especially with the focus on environmental sustainability,
Oh, yeah.
the responsibility is very high, and the patient safety, the
Correct.
safety of the patient is very, very critical. So these are the two points which I wanted to add.
Yeah, regulations are there and it's for good. So let's take case specific now. Now, as an end user, how do you feel like dealing with reverse logistics, regulations, dealing with those near expiry products? How critical it is, and what are the different strategies you take in place to manage these things?
Okay, so some of the points which I would like to mention here, the basic thing is,
Yeah.
let's take the example of expired items.
Okay.
Okay, so we always work within the framework of our infection control department. We have a very strict infection control department, infection control policy, and we
Okay.
always ensure we work within their guidelines.
Okay.
So the products are basically segregated into two categories, I would say, like medical waste and general waste. And this segregation happens at the hospital level, and we tie up with the leading waste management companies.
Okay.
And we ensure that these products are well segregated in a different identifiable bags, and they are disposed at the proper treatment facilities.
I think the color of the bags are also determined by the
Exactly.
regulations,
For
right?
example, like we use the yellow color bags for this medical waste, and so any products like, for example, which is not consumed or which is not open from the packet, but it is expired. I'm just giving an example. We can put it in a general waste category, but at the same time, if it is like having some kind of contact with the patient, then it has to be considered as a medical waste, and it has to go through the proper disposing channel. And every item which we are disposing is documented properly with all the required details, so that nothing is being missed out, or it is not being misplaced anywhere, and disposed in a most efficient and proper way. And the second thing, what we can always see is, in most of the other parts of the world, what I have heard or read is some of the items which is not used or as being expired. We can always have a, agreement or a talk with our manufacturer and see if we can return these back to them, if they can, use it for the reproduction, or reuse it by through a proper way, and they can come up. This could impact on the economic aspect of the whole business as well. So this is something which we need to see and we can consider in our line of business as well.
Yeah, Ishwar, I wanted to ask you one thing. Hari mentioned about returning the materials, the near expired items, or maybe disposing them in a very safer condition. Would you recommend reverse logistics department itself in healthcare facilities or in medical institutions where they actually focus on this area? Because I feel that there are a lot of waste, especially when you talked about the sustainability part. There are a lot of waste which is generated out of this issue, and I think SDG principles, circular economy, would not be achieved if these wastes are there. So, would it be preferable that companies or maybe healthcare institutions would be preferring separate department of reverse logistics?
You hit the bullseye, Jason. You hit the bullseye. You're bang on the target, I would say. Yes, many of the companies have adopted these efficient ways of addressing reverse logistics, because it's a specialist function in itself.
Correct.
So reverse logistics creates value by turning waste into sales and builds customers' trust.
Yeah.
So businesses resell like Hari had mentioned. Wherever the shelf life is available, they will take it back. They
Yeah.
will swap with with those packages where adequate shelf life is available. They try to resell it wherever it is appropriate as per the regulations of the law of the land.
Correct.
Wherever it can be reused, they will reuse in the appropriate places and recycle returned products wherever recycling it is possible. So that's the reason you can find a lot of recycling companies who are taking such kind of initiatives
Yeah.
to do it in a more sustainable way or in a sustained process. In addition, effective reverse logistics keeps down any storage and distribution costs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So these
great.
are my
Yeah, great. Thanks, Ishwar, for that. Hari, we discussed on reverse logistics and different strategies. My
Right.
question to you is, how does technology helps in all this process? Because you mentioned in your earlier discussion about forecasting, about planning the shipment, about planning the deliveries to the hospitals or maybe to to the companies. So, how can technology be an enabler or say solutions like IoT devices or maybe AI-driven solutions can help in this whole reverse logistics process?
So this is something again an interesting topic and broad
Yeah.
topic to discuss, because nowadays we are seeing a lot of automation coming up in the entire supply chain process.
Yes.
So IoTs and AI is playing a crucial role in revolutionizing the entire logistic, be it proper logistics or reverse logistic.
Yeah.
This gives a good visibility and efficiency across the entire supply chain function. So, but
Mm.
before that, talking about the technology factor, I would also like to say something about the Tatmeen track and trace program. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. What is being implemented here?
Yeah.
So, Tatmeen is basically a comprehensive system.
Okay.
It's been implemented here in the UAE. So what does this, and especially in the pharmaceutical industries, sorry. So what they do is here it tracks the entire moment of the product right from manufacturer to the end user, like
Oh,
the
okay. Like a
yeah.
blockchain
Exactly,
activity. Mm.
exactly. So there is a set of serial numbers, everything. So before you import these products into the country, you need to fill all those details like the batch numbers, serial numbers, expiry, everything into this, and then this is required at your customs clearance before releasing the product to the market, everything, and the
Mm.
whole chain where the product moves from the manufacturer to the distributor to the retailers to the end users, everything is being tracked. So
Mm.
this gives us the visibility of the entire product, like where it is right now, where is it moving, and where in which geographical location we have the stocks available. And
Mm.
the most important feature of this the entire system is, it can combat the counterfeit products, you
Mm.
see. So this has been already implemented here, and the pharmaceutical companies and the distributors are already practicing this. And this is unique and an interesting thing,
Yeah.
which requires a guided or streamlined approach in terms of tracing and tracking. And of course, to talk about the IoT things, IoT devices where we can track the product movement on real-time basis, and with the
Correct.
help of AI algorithms, we can get the data analytics when
Mm.
this helps in our decision making and transparency more efficiently and more faster.
True. Yeah, I think technology will always help, especially with
Yes.
blockchain technology. You mentioned it
Yes.
absolutely right. Source
Yes.
of the material is so much important. We were discussing on this sourcing patterns in the earlier podcast, Ishwar, how sourcing
Mhm.
is so important. And we can draw a clear line here when we talk about reverse logistics with Hari. That's sourcing. If you track the source of the material, you can actually avoid so much risk basically in terms of reverse logistics. You will know exactly who the supplier is, who the
Yeah,
manufacturer is, which batch number. You're right, Hari, in this case. I mean, this is a
yeah,
classic example.
yeah.
Um, let me ask Ishwar a very important question here from a finance point of view. Um, how does financial managers or maybe CFOs, accountants, finance specialists would document or maybe have a reserve for reverse logistics in their accounting books? Will that matter so much, or are they expecting a huge number of write-offs in at the year end? I mean, from a finance point of view, would you like to comment on this?
Not really, Jason, because
Mm,
this is not like any other form of business.
mm,
The entire business dynamics includes this critical element of reverse logistics because the business itself is designed in such a way.
yeah.
Uh, Basically, when it comes to the question of patient care and addressing the supply chain design and network itself, it is designed in such a way so is the business model itself is unique in itself. So the
Mm,
write-offs and other aspects are considered in the part of the business processes, and they make necessary provisions based on the line of product, or whether it is a capital goods or whether it is
mm.
related to operations. They have adequate reserves, and it's based on the business model what they have. So the business model is structured for such kind of a supply chain model.
Yeah. So let me ask Hari on one of the important point, which is equally important like reverse logistics, that is product recall, or when
Yeah.
the manufacturers recall certain batch from the market. So how does it affect the overall business, and how does reverse logistics framework affect in product recall?
Definitely, that would definitely bring some imbalance in our day-to-day operations, especially when
Mm.
you are providing some kind of critical treatment. Let's say, like what I'm doing here is in a dialysis
Yeah.
service provider. So a sudden recall of the entire batch or anything definitely would cause a certain amount of imbalance in the entire process.
True.
So that is definitely a challenge. So first we need to know what is the reason, if there is any defect or anything,
Mm. Mm.
and if they are ready to replace the amount of stocks what we have, and the limited time frame what we need, because we need to run the uh, show regularly
Yes.
without any
Yes.
disruptions and provide utmost patient care, because we cannot compromise on our quality of services and patient care. So this is
Absolutely.
something we keep in our mind always, and we come out with feasible and most effective solutions in such way that these recall incidences would not affect our day-to-day operations
Mm.
significantly. We ensure a smooth transition overall. So I can give a classic example. What we had here is,
Yeah.
we get one of these products. It's a kind of on-off kits, what we call. Basically, it's like when you connect a patient to the dialysis machine at the time of starting dialysis, there is a
Okay.
set of components you need to use it. And also at the time of disconnection, there is another set of components you need to use it.
Okay.
Okay, so the contents in the kits are different.
Mm.
There's a difference. So some of the item, one of the item, when we got a new shipment recently,
Okay.
there is something known as the heparin caps, because what we use here is we have two set of patients. We provide dialysis, like one is fistula and the other one is catheter. So
Mm.
after your dialysis sessions for the catheter patients, you need to use this heparin caps to close the catheter in
Okay.
order to avoid infection. So one of the batch we received in the recent shipment, it was not up to our standard because it was quite tight. We need to use the forceps to remove these catheters, which was causing a lot of discomfort to the patients. And
Mm.
so what we do is we immediately informed our manufacturer about these incidences in a proper detailed product review report.
Okay.
And thankfully, we had a very good supplier who responded immediately, and they supplied a new set of heparin caps just as an FOC, and they airshipped it.
Amazing.
So having the right supply partners is very, very useful and very, very critical, in terms of facing these kind of challenges.
Absolutely. Ishwar, would you like to add something here?
Thank you, Jason. I mean, our friend Hari has aptly highlighted on by illustrating the real lifetime examples. But what I would like to address from a different perspective on recall management is to mitigate risks associated with the product recalls, and how efficiently are we able to ensure that reverse logistics framework.
Yeah.
Most of the medical companies implement few strategies, which are, I would just take it as I'll give you a few bullet points, which is establish a recall management plan, invest in traceability systems, maintain a recall readiness program, establish communication channels, collaborate with regulatory agencies, implement risk assessment procedures, streamline returns processing, monitor and evaluate effectiveness. So
Yeah.
these are the framework what they have in the medical business. Hari has beautifully comprehended on the various aspects by illustrating the kind of examples what he had cited with related to the catheter and the other examples what he had quoted for the dialysis treatment. So by implementing these strategies, medical companies can effectively mitigate risks associated with the recalls and ensure efficient recall management within the reverse logistics framework. This will directly have an impact to minimize the disruptions to the operations, and also protect the most important thing again and again. The focus is on the patient safety and regulatory compliance.
Absolutely. So, on that note, we would like to wind up. Hari, your concluding remarks on reverse logistics in healthcare facilities and healthcare industry.
Again, yes, reverse logistics, we can manage it more efficiently and bring out or reduce the operating cost if we work together with our stakeholders, bringing out transparency in the entire process, involving every stakeholders in all the supply chain, the entire supply chain process, streamlining and designing the entire workflow, readiness to face any challenges that could come, just like a plan B solution. You always need to be ready with that. And these are some of the things with the companies should always have in practice and should always consider, so that we could work efficiently and without disrupting our day-to-day operations, and ensuring the most effective and advanced patient care, and without compromising on the quality. Again, on the root cause level, if you see, we can avoid at the root cause level by having the right kind of supplier with the right kind of products, because we practice when we introduce a new product to our clinics, we always go through a lot of evaluation process by our committees, by our medical staffs. We also try this on a real-time basis with our patients. We take a survey, we feel if they are comfortable, and we bring in those changes very steadily and slowly, and having a lot of awareness and training programs with the help of our manufacturers or distributors on how to use the equipment, because most of the times you see the defects or damage happen at the time of using the products. If you're not aware about how to use the product on the right way, this would cause a lot of inventory loss. So providing education and training to the medical staff and creating awareness to the patients. All these aspects put forward and again working collaboratively could definitely impact on the reverse logistics operations. And in terms of economic or cost wise, we could have a very control over it.
Great. Ishwar, your concluding remarks on reverse logistics.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Harry. Great insights on whatever you have mentioned. So I would, as Jason had touched upon an important element, I would just comprehend or supplement his statement. Reverse logistics can play a significant role in promoting a circular economy model within the healthcare sector by maximizing the resource efficiency and reducing waste. Today, every organization, every supply chain is looking towards lean management,
Yes.
how to reduce the waste, how to
Yes.
eliminate the waste. So there is a lot of process enhancements that are taking place, process improvements that are taking place day in, day on, day in, day out. And through various means, I would just touch upon few points on the various means how you can achieve it is by product refurbishment and remanufacturing. Instead of disposing of returned or used medical equipment and devices, reverse logistics can facilitate the refurbishment and remanufacturing of these products. Then the processes involves repairing, reconditioning, and upgrading products to extend their life cycle and reintroducing them into the market, thereby reducing the demand for new resources. Earlier, when we spoke about supply chain or when we hear about supply chain, we used to talk about cradle to grave. But now it's no more a cradle to grave, it's cradle to cradle.
Yes.
And the second means what I would like to touch upon is the material recovery and recycling. Reverse logistics enables the collection, sorting, processing. That is where, Jason, you had mentioned, don't you think it's important for us to have a separate reverse logistics facility or something?
Yes.
It's important. That's where the organizations have recognized reverse logistics enables the collection, sorting, because it requires a lot of time and effort, sorting, processing of the end of life medical products to recover valuable materials for recycling, components, and other materials, such as in some cases, it could be metals, it could be plastics, it could be electronics, and it can be reused in the manufacturing of new products, reducing the need for virgin resources and minimizing the environmental impact, especially when we are talking about sustainability, carbon capture, carbon footprint, and so on and so forth. The third means where I look at is where Hari had interestingly touched upon was on the optimization of inventory management. Efficient reverse logistics processes can help healthcare facilities better manage their inventories by facilitating the return and redistribution of express or expired products, by reselling or redistributing surplus inventory to other facilities. With the help of technology, we can see where the movement of goods are happening faster, where it is happening slower. So appropriate decisions can be taken and it can be redistributed, and the surplus inventories can be optimized or it can be sent to various other markets. He had beautifully explained on pulling up the shipments by air or any other mode, and reducing unnecessary waste and resource consumption can be minimized. The fourth is a very interesting aspect of the means, what I would like to bring it to the notice of all our listeners are, today we speak something called as closed loop supply chains. Closed loop supply chains, implementing closed loop supply chains within the healthcare sector allows for a seamless integration of reverse logistics processes, especially when it comes to products and materials which are collected, refurbished, or recycled at the end of the life cycle and reintroduced again into the supply chain, creating a circular flow of resources and reducing the reliance on a linear one-time use models. We can see so many number of Hari can elaborate on that in detail, but that is also one of the popular means or a shift in the entire supply chain design or the model. The fifth point, what I would like to address here, or the means, is extended producer responsibility, EPR, not a ERP, but I call it as EPR. EPR programs, reverse logistics can support EPR programs where manufacturers take the responsibility for the end of life management of their products. Many of the companies I've seen, they are taking such kind of initiatives by designing products with recyclability and remanufacturability in mind, and establishing take-back programs when they're introduced, when there's a technology change or when some enhancement it is happening, they're taking it as a buyback. They take back the old machinery and they give some kind of a price to it, and then they take back the old machinery, and manufacturers can ensure that their products are properly managed because they have the entire know-how of the product, and they can administer the end of life cycle and contributing to a circular economy. And Netherlands is a place where such kind of initiatives we are able to see in Europe. A lot of circular economy initiatives are being taken. The sixth most important aspect or the means, Hari had stressed and repeatedly he was saying, collaboration. I would add one more adjective to it: collaboration and partnership. Collaboration between stakeholders across the healthcare supply chain, including manufacturers, distributors, healthcare facilities, waste management companies, is essential. It's very important for optimizing reverse logistics processes and promoting circularity. Partnerships can facilitate the exchange of best practices, technology, and leverage on the resources to improve efficiency and reduce waste collectively. The seventh means, what I would say is very important, like what we are doing now through NLG learning and NLG talks, is consumer education and awareness. Educating healthcare professionals, patients, consumers about the importance of proper disposal and recycling of medical products can encourage responsible behavior and support the adoption of circular economy principles within the healthcare sector. How many of us tell me that how many of us are, what you call, are disposing of our medical waste in a most efficient way? It's a question which we have to think about. So customer or consumer education awareness is a very important element or the means what I would like to highlight upon. So leveraging reverse logistics effectively, the healthcare sector can transition towards a more sustainable circular economy model where resources are conserved, waste is minimized, and environment impact is reduced, ultimately contributing not only to the health of the patient, but the health of the planet and the society.
Fantastic. 7 points to conclude.
Yeah.
And I think that's reverse logistics for you guys. Thank you, Hari. Thank you, Ishwar. On that note, let's wind up today's session. It was a great session for the listeners on reverse logistics. Thank you, Ishwar and Hari.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for giving this opportunity. And I would like to encourage all the listeners to follow NLG Talks. We have many more interesting things which are coming up. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.